So is this the first time that you are showing this system to anyone outside the FBI?
We've demonstrated the system in the public at a public meeting, but this is the first time we've shown it to the media.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
This will be our probe photograph.
So this is a guy that a local sheriff or some local policeman has sent you from a crime?
This would be the person, the photograph of the person they are trying to identify.
Okay, so they send this picture to you.
They send it into the system.
Okay.
Directly. And so we're submitting the photograph into the system. It's looking through 12.8 million mugshots in the current system.
So it's just like a mugshot book. It's like going into the police station and doing it by hand. You've just computerized it.
It's an automation of a process that's been used for decades. And so these are the candidates that the Next Generation Identification has returned. If you look at the right-hand side of the screen, we see boxes that say consider this candidate, which we're going to look at a little further, uncertain, which we would look at, and then exclude, where you can see the probe photograph is a Caucasian male, and we have some of the suspect photographs that are African Americans. We would just exclude those because obviously that's not the same person.
Okay. Does this guy have that little scar?
Well, a scar can be a transient feature.
Right.
You have a scar one day,
And you don't, it
and
goes away.
before that you wouldn't have had that scar. So they also look for different features such as moles.
So if you have your shot taken 10 years before, as an example, the crime scene shot, and in 10 years the guy drank heavily and led a hard life and just looks much worse, it doesn't really matter.
It very likely would bring up that 10-year-old photograph as one of the most likely candidates.
Could a prosecutor take this from the FBI and bring it into court and use it as evidence? The FBI identified or came up with this face for us.
No, and no one would ever take this and say, well, the facial examination system said it was a likely match. That's not reasonable suspicion. It's not probable cause. It could not be used to charge anyone.
So you don't come up with match, match, match the way they do on CSI.
Exactly.
You just give them a list.
It's a list of likely candidates, investigative leads, and then it would be the investigator's responsibility.
So when you're up and running in 2014, will any local enforcement agency have access to it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they need any kind of special piece of equipment or software to access this?
No, ma'am. This is running on normal desktop type equipment. The big computers doing the hard work are here.